All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Temple of Clarity. I'm Elisheva Herrera, and tonight we're going to be talking about moving forward without spiritual bypassing. And I'm grateful to be here at the Temple of Clarity. Thank you very much. And before we get started, I'm going to do an invocation of calling in the angels. So this is a time to call in your angels. So I invite you to, if it's comfortable, close your eyes and put your attention on your heart chakra, which is at the center of your chest, or anywhere you consider your heart. And maybe slow down. Just slow down and come into the present moment with all of your awareness, with all of your senses. Bring them all into the heart. The heart is where it's at. It's how Spirit speaks to you. It is how you get your guidance. It is how the body slows down so that you're not ruled by the fight or flight response. And it replenishes your muscles, it replenishes everything when you move into the heart. So slowing the breathing down and just relaxing into the heart. And just opening up. Think of something that brings you joy or makes you feel gratitude or love, whatever is the easiest for you to reach for. Today my gratitude is for those beautiful painted butterflies that are flitting around everywhere, and they're magical. So bring that elevated feeling of joy or gratitude or love into your heart as you call in your own angels, the Ascended Masters, your guides, whoever you're comfortable calling in to be with you during this fun time of joyful transformation through sound. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mohem LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni LeShalom, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedkem LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that silence after sound is so very important. It is so very potent and holds so much energy. It creates a whole space for you to move into. Okay, so let's get started. The topic is moving forward without spiritual bypassing. And I just have to say, we're in Southern California here. I don't know where everybody else is. I know we're broadcast around the world, but those painted ladies, those butterflies, are just magical. And they've just created this whole aura of magic, and it's just beautiful. And the painted ladies, the last I heard, painted ladies were those Victorian houses in San Francisco. But for some reason, they call these butterflies the painted ladies, and they are related to the monarch. And they've just been all over the place, especially inland, and just droves and droves. And Dennis was saying earlier that they had butterflies in the backyard, and it was like a rainbow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, what kind of magic do those butterflies bring? Transformation. It's a totem of transformation. And I'm known to my friends, some of them, as goddess of transformation. So for me, when I see the butterfly, I just, it brings something special. And a rainbow of butterflies, what's over that rainbow? What's on the other side of that? And so this brought this song to mind today. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, why can't I? Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I? That song is kind of a song of longing, wanting to be on the other side of the rainbow. And why can't you get there? You can. Of course you can. It's like admitting that there is something in the way of you getting on the other side of the rainbow. And that's why it's really important not to do spiritual bypassing, which leads me to what is spiritual bypassing. It's a phrase I hear often in the spiritual community now. And spiritual bypassing is when you're ignoring the problems, acting as if they don't exist, and trying to move beyond them. So when I was a science of mind practitioner for years, and people would come to me and, they want their positive prayer. And the idea is that you can have whatever it is you desire as long as it is highest good and is in accord with your belief system. Well, for one, we don't know what that highest good is. We may ask for $1 million, but if that's not in my spiritual blueprint for this lifetime, that's not going to happen. But if I don't have the belief system that goes along with that I would be able to handle that $1 million, then that's not going to happen either. But I would see people coming to me with the same issue over and over. And what I realized was that, okay, so you ask for something and then the universe moves to make it happen, assuming that you can have it, assuming that it's okay for you to have, it's in highest good, and you are in alignment with it. But what happens if you're not in alignment with it? Your stuff will come up, your shadow stuff will come up that you have to overcome in order to be in alignment with it. So if I ask the universe, if I tell the universe I'm ready for $1 million, but my belief system isn't there, say I don't believe I can have it, that belief is, I'm going to hit up against that belief. That's going to stop me from having it. So I saw people over and over and over coming for the same spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer, and not moving beyond their shadow stuff. So that's one reason why you don't want a spiritual bypass. Because what happens is your resistance to something keeps this energetic field around you, and it keeps everything in place so that you don't move forward. So what happens when you don't spiritual bypass? You can move forward pretty quickly, actually. And so yesterday, actually for a couple days, I was resisting doing my taxes. Has anybody finished their taxes yet? Good for you. Good for you. And I have corporate taxes I have to do. And every time I do them every year, I have this old pattern of, why didn't I do this better? Why didn't I make more money? Why didn't I do this and that and the other thing? And I thought, wait a minute, I'm looking through this limited lens, and taxes are always about what's been before, not what is now, And so, but I knew that I can't just move forward and pretend that my angst over it does not exist. So I decided, and then of course, I've had this coming up tonight, so the universe always gives me something to practice with, right? Something to practice on. So I gotta practice what I preach, I gotta walk the talk. And so then I decided, okay, first I'm gonna do Ho'oponopono, and I did that, and then I did another thing, which I'm gonna share these methods with you in just a few minutes. And then after I released, I felt so good. And it wasn't like immediate, it was like, I feel like I'm over it, I acknowledged that I was in angst over it, I accepted how I felt, and then I decided I want to do something else. Very simple. And then I get a call from my friend. This is all on Tuesday. I had a day on Tuesday that was like a whole month, So last Saturday, I told the universe, I really need help. I need help getting all these things done that I want to do, and being out and teaching and presenting, but I need somebody here in the physical. Thank you. I have all the angels behind me helping me, but I need somebody in the physical. So then after I did this release, my friend Shaman Bob calls me from Denver, and he says, I'm getting the call from Spirit that I should move there and help you out. And I was so dense, I'm like, well, I'd love for you to move here, but I'm not sure how you could help me. Duh. So it took a little while to remember, right, that was my prayer, So I was like, yay, you're moving here, this is great. I'm really excited about that. And then, so that was one thing, and I was really happy about that. And that was like, okay, I'm over the hump, I'm in the flow now, I'm starting to be in the flow. And I didn't recognize it right away, but then another thing happened where I looked at my email, and I have this women's group we do every week online on the phone, and there's always a question, a very poignant question, a question to make you think, what are you doing in your life, where are you going? And the question was, how do other people see you that you don't see yourself, and how do you bring the two together? And I thought, that's easy. My siblings see me as a badass, and I'm like, I don't know where they get that idea. And then they proceeded to tell me. But a lot of this stuff happened when I was a kid. So I beat up the school bully in 4th grade. So what, And then when I was 22, I moved to Israel, a foreign country, with $300 to my name. And I didn't speak the language, and I didn't know anybody. It was a one-way ticket. It was my first time on a plane. So what? Okay, but that was like years ago. I'm like, what does that have to do with me now? And as soon as I had that thought, I'm sitting at my desk by the back door, and I have the back door unlocked because I like to go in and out when I'm working on the computer so that I can go see the sun on the back patio. And all of a sudden I hear the door creak open, and I think it's one of the cats. My neighbors have these cats, and they're always trying to get in my house to see what's there. It's very intriguing for them for some reason. And I look down, I expect to see a cat, and I said there's a man's foot walking through my threshold of the door. I was like, what? And I jumped up, grabbed the doorknob of the door, and just got in his face. And was like, what the hell? What are you doing? What do you want here? It was just, I was just like in his face, and all that energy went towards him, and he backed up and nearly fell over. I scared the hell out of him. And afterwards I thought, well, he was looking for the laundry room. I don't know why he was looking for the laundry room on the 2nd floor, but somebody didn't give him the memo that laundry rooms are usually on the 1st floor, And so, anyway, he quickly ran away. And then I thought, well, that was an interesting response. I wasn't at all afraid. I immediately went to protection mode, anger. It's like, maybe I am a badass after all. And I've just forgotten. So this was all after releasing, all after integrating first and releasing, acknowledging how I felt about taxes and how I didn't want to feel about taxes, but really acknowledging it, and then releasing, and then moving on. And then the next thing I did was I went to the Apple store to pick up a printer I had ordered. And this very nice young man came out and gave me my printer. And meanwhile, I was being a little naughty. I was trying to self-promote my app because I have an Apple app for my drumming. It's called Be Down Now. And so, they have the iPhones out everywhere. So I thought, I'm just gonna, download my app so that people can see it when they walk in. And so here's my app. It uses the drumming of the I Ching. It's the first app ever to do that. And you ask a question and you spin the wheel, and you get an answer. Ooh, details, which is thunder over mountain, and it plays. Yeah, it plays the drumming patterns associated with it, and you'll hear more about that later. So it's called Be Tao Now. And so here I was, trying to get my app in the app store, in the Apple store. And this nice young man comes out and I tell him what I'm doing. And he's all interested in what I'm doing. He's like, oh my God, that's wonderful. I'm part of, I go to Burning Man every year and my group of friends would love this, And meanwhile, I'm noticing a man across the table that two other salespeople are helping very excitedly. Oh, look at that man, I think it's Deepak Chopra. And, the Chopra Center is just down the street from the Apple store in Carlsbad, so it could very well be him. And I kind of listen because, he's in everyday clothes, very nice everyday clothes, but I'm listening, it's like, oh my God, that sounds like Deepak Chopra. So here I am across the table from Deepak Chopra, and it was just like the whole magic kept going, the whole day like that. And then I went to the laundromat. And because I didn't go to the laundry room in my place, but because I had like 8 loads of laundry, the towels, the sheets, all the stuff that you put off when you can. And so somehow I was in hyper mode and I got the 8 loads of laundry done in an hour and 40 minutes. I still managed to come on Tuesday night. And I don't know how that happened. So it was like, I was on shaman time, I think. That's happened before, but so I was at the laundromat and there was this man there, and I thought, I'm always cautious about meeting people, and especially places like laundromats, But this man started talking with me, and I knew he was a musician just by looking at him. And sure enough, he talks about playing bass, and he plays in a soul band, and he says he plays with some of the finest musicians around. I thought, that's interesting. I haven't sung with a band for a long time. And so I let him tell me about himself. I was like, hey, did you see that Aretha Franklin tribute? And he says, no, I didn't. I love Aretha. I said, what's your favorite Aretha Franklin song? And he's like going through all these songs. I don't know. Just pick a song. I tell him. And he says, Natural Woman. So I start belting it out. Looking out on the morning rain, I used to feel so uninspired. And when I knew I'd have to face another day, Lord, it made me feel so tired. Before the day I met you, life was so unkind. You're the key to my peace of mind, 'cause you make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman. And his jaw dropped. He's like, because I didn't tell him I sang, I just showed him, And there's this woman who comes from around the corner, who's that angel singing? And she's also, we're all Midwesterners, and so it was just like all this unfolding all day long. And he invited me to come sit in with his band sometime, which is great. I'll probably do that. But anyway, so this is what happens when you release those blocks, when you don't do the spiritual bypassing. Just imagine what magic is on the other side. What magic have you been holding back? You know, by spiritual bypassing, by not admitting you feel a certain way, by not accepting, you know, and this was just such a clear picture of what happens when I just accept, allow those feelings, and then move on to something else. Magic flow one after another. So I wanted to do a few methods of accepting and then releasing. And I think another word for it would be integration. So sometimes if it's a long-standing issue, you can't just release it. You know, you have to figure out, or you have to, not figure out, you have to bring it into a place where it shifts you, because so many things happen for a reason that we don't know. And you know, it's lousy when something bad happens and somebody says, oh, everything happens for a reason. No, we don't need to hear that in the moment. Right? Who wants to hear that? No. But it is great if we can come to that eventually on our own. And sometimes, you know, it's really hard to do. I know that. So I have chosen 3 methods to share with you tonight. And the first is Ho'oponopono. And Ho'oponopono is originally a Hawaiian thing that the ancient Hawaiians, it's a whole practice that they used to do. The modernized is a little bit different than what they used to do, but really in the old days it was a practice of bringing back together, practice of restitution, forgiveness, and bringing people back together if it was a wrong done to somebody else. So it's, you know, you can find out more about it on your own. But the more modernized version was brought to us by Hugh Len, who studied with the elders in Hawaii. And he has this fantastic story where he worked as I think in the psychiatric ward of a criminal psychiatric prison. And so he decided he was going to every day look at the files of the inmates and practice Ho'oponopono, meaning he would see, you know, these names and do this practice, and it released every single one. So by the end of, I don't know how long the period was, there was nobody left in the prison there. Everybody had moved on. And the reason, the idea is that we all live in a unity. So if I am seeing this thing, then I can take it in as my own, as something that I've created, and forgive it, and then it will disappear. And Dennis practices Ho'oponopono on usually on Thursday nights is with the Kuan Yin Rosary. And I got this quote from I think this is David Christopher Lewis. When events come in this world, rub me wrong, and I judge them. To release it, I make it mine. I own them so I can heal them. So when events come in this world, rub me wrong, and I judge them. To release it, I make it mine. I own them so I can heal them. So I'm not saying I created this event necessarily, but I can use the power of the unity consciousness to forgive it and let it move, let it go away. So Ho'oponopono is, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And I love you because no true transformation happens without love. Love is universal currency. Love is the currency of God. Love is what we all have in common. We're born of it. We are it. It is us. So it is a very powerful force for good. So I love you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm seeing this. I'm sorry that For some reason, this is in my consciousness, otherwise I wouldn't see it. If it weren't in my consciousness, I'm sorry this exists. Please forgive me. Forgive me for it being here in this consciousness, in this realm right now. I am owning this. And I'm saying I'm forgiving it so that it dissolves. Thank you. So I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. So I invite you to take one thing right now that you can use Ho'oponopono with. It doesn't have to be something huge. It can be something very small, a little slight that happened today, even something in traffic or something somebody said. Whatever you'd like. So just have something in mind with the intention of forgiveness. Just say to yourself, and actually prayer, this is a prayer, it works, is more potent when you say it out loud. Because not only then does it have intention behind it, but the sound moves out and acts much faster than just a silent inward prayer. So I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Please forgive me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. One more time. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And another method for release, this is more of a physiological, because, we instinctively do things that will correct us. Like, for instance, in yoga, we do inversions. And the reason we do inversions is to reset our nervous system, And if you've ever seen, I'm sure everybody has seen a kid have a temper tantrum, they get upset and then they fling themselves backwards and, and maybe just, flail around on the ground and then they're fine. That is an inversion. That is trying to get on the ground and grounding. You should try it sometime, it's really fun. In fact, when in the past when I've done voice lessons, and believe me, when people work with their voices, stuff comes up. And the uncomfortable stuff comes up, and then I just get them on the ground, I get them on the ground and feeling it from there, not pushing it away, feeling it, and then moving through it. So the body knows what you need. You want to do these inversions when you're not feeling right, when you're not feeling good. Likewise, there's this method of hand wringing. So have you ever seen somebody worrying and they're doing this with their hands? They're trying to get to that point of peace again, to that point of stasis. And the reason that this works is because there are all these pressure points in the hands. It's like emotional freedom technique, but a shortcut. And I was taught this by somebody who uses it with people who have PTSD. And so you have all these points in the hands that will unlock the trauma that's in your body, that's in your mind, it's in your feelings. And it's very, very simple. You take, here's the thumb, you're looking for your knuckles. So you start with the pinky of one hand on the knuckles of the thumb, and then come over all of the knuckles on the hand, all the way over, and then come back, and then move the hand over and come back on the knuckles. So it's very simple. Over all the knuckles, and then come back the same way. Move the hand down, come back. So I don't even know what this method is called, but it's really hand wringing, and you do this 8 times on one side, and then go to the other hand and do that 8 times. And here's how you use it. You admit how you're feeling, because you have to get to those feelings before you can move through them. You have to admit, hey, I am feeling I'm feeling lousy about having to do these taxes. These taxes, I hate doing these taxes. I wish I didn't have to do these taxes. I wish that somebody else would do these taxes. I wish I was already done with these taxes. I feel bad about what I did last year or didn't do last year. And then you go to the other hand, and then you come to a point of, but you know what, it's okay. It's all right. I'm telling my body, it's okay. I can move through this. It's okay. Other people have moved through this. It's okay. I'm going to be okay. And I really want to feel better about this, so I'm going to let myself feel better about this. And I'm going to know that, next year I do better. But right now, my worth isn't tied up in these taxes. My worth isn't tied up in how much I make or how little I make. My worth isn't about any of these things. So then you start to tell yourself the truth, the real spiritual truth. And pretty soon you're feeling good. But you have to move up what you might call the emotional scale. So I invite you to pick something right now that you would like to feel better about, that maybe you haven't been admitting to yourself that is an issue. And we don't have to say this one out loud because I want you to have your privacy, but pick a subject, any subject that you want, and so 8 times on one hand, 8 times on the other. I want you to be able to do this. So any questions about where on the hand? Does everybody have it? Yeah. Right. So again, what this is doing is this is unlocking trauma in the body. This is unlocking those thought patterns. So admitting how you're feeling about the subject, accepting how you're feeling, and knowing that just in doing this, that you are accepting yourself. This is a step towards moving through it. This is a step in the right direction. You can choose something else. And then begin to choose something else. How you want to feel about it. And knowing the truth about yourself, that no matter what has happened, that you are loved, lovable, loving. You are a divine being in human form. You are here for a reason, that you matter. That all is well. And, why do people like the blues so much? Any ideas? Why do people like listening to the blues?
Releases.
It releases, right? You get down and dirty in those emotions, it's a way of allowing the emotions, and then you feel better. Yeah. For a while I didn't sing the blues because I thought, it's going to bring my vibration down, But it's not like you never, you reach a certain level and you never feel sad or anything, everybody's human. We feel all of the emotions. I once had an acupuncturist that said, "What emotions do you feel?" I'm like, "What? I feel all of them." He's like, "That's right. You wouldn't believe how many people I see that say they're only happy." It's like, "Oh, really? Oh, really? Okay." But yeah, so we have to get deep and down sometimes in those emotions in order to feel them and then let them go. So, and sometimes it's like, and it's okay if you feel sorry for yourself. It's okay to admit that you feel sorry for yourself, that you're feeling bad, and that you wanna, you gotta move. You gotta move through it. You have to admit that you're feeling sorry for yourself. When I'm feeling like that and I've got to get down in the emotions, one song I like to sing is, nobody knows the trouble I see. Nobody knows my sorrow. Nobody knows the trouble I see. Glory, hallelujah. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down. Oh yes, Lord. Sometimes I'm almost to the ground. Oh yes, Lord. Nobody knows the trouble I see. Nobody knows my sorrow. Nobody knows the trouble I see. Glory, hallelujah. If you get there before I do, oh yes, Lord, tell all my friends I'm coming too. Oh yes, Lord. Nobody knows the trouble I see. Nobody knows my sorrow. Nobody knows the trouble I see. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. See, in that song, there's acknowledging, yeah, I'm really feeling bad, but I know that I'm going to get somewhere else. If you get there before I do, tell all my friends I'm coming to. I'm getting there. But right now, this is how I'm feeling. And it's just fine. And grief is so hard for a lot of people to go into, Grief took me a long time because I used to be an intellectual, so it took me a long time to be able to do grief, but it is so cathartic, because peace or joy is always on the other side, and sometimes we don't acknowledge the grief because we have, we're constantly going through transformations. We're constantly going through different parts in our lives that are endings and beginnings, endings and beginnings. Every time there's an ending, there is a reason to grieve. Even if it's something that you want to do, want to move on to, you're still moving beyond something that meant something to you or that was part of your life. So there's an opportunity to grieve. Has anyone ever suffered from allergies? Yes. Mm-hmm. I used to have a really bad allergy to jasmine, which is unusual with all my Mediterranean blood, jasmine is the same genus as the olive tree. I know that from my immunologist. And so when I lived in the Bay Area and there was jasmine everywhere, oh my God, I would have these heart palpitations if I was walking through neighborhoods with jasmine, and I would get diarrhea. So it was really bad. I couldn't go that far in the neighborhood, I'd have to be able to run home. And so I lived with this for years. For years I lived with this without asking my body what it was about. And normally, I have an ailment I go to what's called first cause. what is the emotional reason, what is the thought behind it. Because, you know, like, if you get embarrassed, what happens?
Get red.
Your face turns red, you blush. There's an immediate response to what you're thinking, right? Well, you can take that with, you know, all these different aspects that happen to you in your body. So usually if I have a pain, I'll ask my body, like my knee, what is this about? Oh, I'm not wanting to move forward, I'm being stubborn. You know, there are all these different answers you can get. And Louise Hay has a book called Heal Your Life, and she has like cataloged from years of working with people what different ailments can mean. But I like to go and ask my own body, because the body has so much wisdom. It'll tell you, it's telling you you're out of alignment somehow. It's telling you there's a problem and you should listen. That's what it's telling you. So, but for some reason, for years, I lived with this allergy. And when I moved down to Orange County, it was better, and I did get some help from a chiropractor who helped people with allergies. But it didn't totally go away, and then I moved back to the Bay Area, and there it was again, like in full force. I'm like, oh my God, why am I still living with this? And so I was walking in the neighborhood, and there's Jasmine, and I thought I was done with it enough, and I finally asked my body, why am I having this experience? What are you trying to tell me? And it was immediate. The response was, I still have grief. I still had grief from leaving Jerusalem that I had unprocessed. I had not processed this grief. And it was years. It had been years and years since I had left. And, you know, the jasmine blooms like crazy in the Mediterranean climate. And so I was like, oh my God, that's it? That's all? That's it? Okay, I can feel that. It was gone like that. Immediate, but not until I acknowledged that I had that feeling. Not until I acknowledged where it came from, and that, yeah, that's right, I do have grief. I mean, I can still think about Jerusalem and be like, oh, I miss it, you know? It's another home for me. So, but it wasn't until that I could move forward. And some people call that presencing. I've read that, you know, presencing. When you're having an issue, you come into the present moment, and you can go into your heart to calm yourself down, to actually ask yourself what's going on, acknowledge that you're having those feelings, and then, you know, and often just the acknowledgement will let you move forward. You know, it doesn't have to be 20 years of therapy. It could be instant if you're ready to deal with it. It can be very fast. So that's called presencing. Presencing is when you have an issue, you come into the present moment with it, you feel it, you acknowledge it, and then you can decide, you know, if you're gonna stay with it, but often just that will make it shift. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So does everybody get what I mean by the presencing? Yeah. So another way that I do presencing is in my method called Heart Moves. Heart Moves is a shamanic journey of transformation through sound. And so I use the elements of the I Ching and I drum them to take you on a journey. And the reason that shamanic journeys work is what happens is it takes you inward, and actually was doing some research on this. What it does with the brain is it accesses the part of the brain where you might have held trauma. And then it speaks to the subconscious speaks to the conscious, and you move through it. So you don't necessarily have to do talk therapy to get through stuff. You don't have to hash every single thing out. It's very possible to move through it in a shamanic journey, like Heart Moves, which is probably why people like to do ayahuasca and things like that. I've never done it, but I kind of don't need it. I have enough of those experiences. Thank you very much. Who needs that? I know, but it's really helpful for some people because it actually stops depression and heals those very more serious mental illnesses. I'm not poo-pooing it. It's very helpful for a lot of people. So anyway, Okay, so our next thing is to go into the heart moves, a shamanic journey. So just want to take a moment and make sure everybody's comfortable, make sure everybody's ready. So if there is something that you are moving through, now is the time to move through it. So this is all about, tonight is all about moving through, not spiritual bypassing, but moving through things. So if there's one issue you want to choose to move through, this is the time to do it. So take a moment to find your intention. And you can do that by, again, slowing down and moving into the heart and asking yourself, because you've got all the answers in there, asking yourself, what is it that you're ready to move through? What is it that you want to release, to integrate, to release today? What is it that you're ready to let go of, to move through? Because it's making so much noise. Okay, assuming everybody has an intention. This works best if there's an intention. The first, here's what we're going to do. So this is a point where this is very experiential, and I ask that you not talk through it, and we can process later. I mean, we can share later. So I ask that you not talk through it. But if there are sounds that want to come out through you to help you through the process, that's fine. If you have a journal or something you want to write on, that's fine. Or draw, or if you feel like moving, please feel free to get up and move. I just want you to do naturally what comes to you to do in this journey. So the very first element is the element of the mountain. Mountain is about keeping still. Mountain is the strength, the inner strength that's in you. And that is why you go into the heart with your intention. This is where we always begin with that contemplation. So contemplating what it is you want right now and why. What is it that you are moving through? The answers are all within you. You have all that you need for this shift inside of you. So this is mountain, keeping still. And when I say that, that means this is what the rhythm sounds like, mountain, keeping still. So just follow the heart rhythms, follow the rhythms into your heart, and let them speak to you, let them reveal to you what needs to be revealed. And the next element is earth, the divine feminine, of allowing, of accepting. So what happens when we contemplate what we want is maybe the resistance comes up. And the resistance is what keeps the old in place. So to move through the resistance, we go into acceptance. Acceptance of what has been. Acceptance of what has happened until this present moment. So allowing all that energy to move through you, through your feet into Mother Earth. This is the energy of the earth. She allows you to just release into her. So allowing it all to pass through the body of your emotions, the body of your thoughts, the physical body, all bodies, the astral, the ethereal, the causal, all bodies moving, letting the energy of acceptance, allowance do the work through you. So, Mother, Mother, Mother. Thank you, Mother. And now that we have allowed and accepted, which is really integration, then we can release. We can release what no longer serves. There's nothing in the way of releasing now. So the energy of release is fire. Fire, burning fire. Fire is the element of transformation. Fire is a destructive force, but yet it makes room for new growth. So imagine a forest fire. It comes through and it seems destructive, but it makes room for the new. So it levels out, it clears. So you can imagine a campfire in the middle of the room. And you don't have to name everything, but if you have something that you want to name, you can just throw it into the fire in the center of the room. Just allowing the release to happen now through the fire. Fire, burning fire. And the next element is wind. The wind, or wind, is gentle persistence. And it is gently, very gently staying with the energy of what you want. Being persistent with it, but being gentle. It is the gentle wind that eventually erodes the monolith. And that gentleness, like the deer that moves so gently on the land, or the butterflies that flit in the wind. Such gentle transformation. So the wind blows away the smoke and brings in new energy. Gentle wind blows. So we've been through the contemplation, the accepting, the release, and now the new energy comes in. And now we can focus on what it is that we do want. So the universe pours a vacuum. What replaces that which you just let go of? What is that? And now is the time to use the energy of joy to bring that in. And the energy of joy is lake. Lake over lake. Lake is joyful. So feel it in your body, that freedom that is yours since the release. Feel in your body where joy resides. And joy automatically, just naturally attracts the very best to you. So feel that joy in your body. Lake is joyful. Yes to ease. Yes. And the next element is thunder. It is that shock of energy that you feel when you hear the thunder. It makes all of your senses come alive. So in thunder, what we do, thunder is power, and you have the power of co-creation. So with thunder, you embody what it is that you're choosing to experience now. So use all of your senses, use how does it feel like when it's here? How does it feel like in your body? What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? What is surrounding it? Where are you when you're experiencing it? Just feel it, bring it into the present moment, using all of your senses. Bring it into your heart and into the physical by embodying it. So thunder is power. So now you have embodied what it is you desire. Now let go and trust in the flow. This is the energy of water. Water flows deeply. Be the river that flows to the ocean. The micro, moving into the macro. be in the flow. Trust what is already done. Trust that you have chosen well. Trust in the universe. Give you what you want. Trust in the flow. Let it go. Water flows. Comes the energy of Father's sky, which is heaven, which is the divine masculine. So now that all the embodied has happened and we have been in the beingness and allowed the power of the beingness to move through us, now we can take divinely inspired action. So the feminine was about being, allowing, the masculine is taking action, creating heaven on earth. So Father Sky, listen, listen, listen. What does the next step sound like, look like? So if you listen with your heart, go into your heart again and listen. What is the next step? You will be given a next step. And when you take that, the universe knows that you mean business and will give you another step and another. And you may start out plodding along, but eventually you'll be walking briskly in the direction that you desire. So Father Sky. Those are the 8 elements, and all that's left is peace. Peace is the balance of masculine and feminine energies, the balance of being and doing, balance of left brain, right brain, head and heart. When mind, body, and soul come together, that's when matter is created. When thinking and feeling come together through your consciousness, this creates matter. So you can take this time right now to go into your heart and imagine a sun and a moon merging together in your heart. And peace is actually creative. Peace is at the 0 point before anything is created. So take this into your heart. Peace, Father Sky, Mother, Mother, Mother. So let's just go into the silence for a couple minutes and feel that peace in your heart, feel where it resides in your body. Anchor it into the physical. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. Coming back to present moment and bringing all the gifts of the journey back with you into the physical. Feeling your breath, breathing deeply and evenly and smoothly, and giving thanks for your guides, your angels, whoever you called into this journey with you as we close this journey. And giving thanks for the gifts that you may have received. Giving thanks because you know that it is already done, that which you have put your intention forth on today.